Hello again, my little learners in Year 10 and anonymous subscriber. We are now going to have a look at calculated queries. This uses a particular type of query called a totals query. And there is a question in this exam paper that we're going over now that includes it. It says here, produce a report from all the data which uses only the staff and number fields, calculates the sum of the number field for each member of staff, and counts the number of holidays sold by each member of staff. Sounds complicated, doesn't it? But it really isn't. We're going to use the totals query in order to do this. So step number 1, we go to create and query design, and we put it in the table like that, and it tells us that we're only using staff and number, so I'm going to put staff and I'm going to put number. In this case, normally, as you know, I would put in all the fields and then click off the ones I don't need. Click, 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 click. But for this one, because there's only 2, it will save you an enormous amount of time just by dropping in the 2 fields. I don't recommend you do this as a general thing, but for totals queries, I do recommend you do this. Now, what we have to do here, first of all, let's deal with the first part of the question, which says calculates the sum of the number field for each member of staff. So what we want is to be able to have each member of staff appear once. Okay, so if the member of staff is called AR, then AR only appears once in our list, and the total, the sum of their number of holidays that they have sold appears next to them. So you have only the names appearing once and their totals, and you can do this using a totals query, which is over here. It looks like an E. It's not, it means auto sum, kind of. But anyway, we click on that, and you'll see that our query design is now changed, and we have a new arrival over here called the totals row. And you will see that it automatically says group by, but if you click underneath, it also gives you other interesting options like sum, AVG, and I don't think that's an antivirus, I think that means average, min, max, count, standard deviation, or StDev. I haven't heard of a StDev, so I assume it's standard deviation. Var or var, first, last, expression, and where. Now, we are only going to deal in IGCSE with these ones. These are maths ones. Sum means add up, average is average, min is the lowest, max is the highest, and count is how many. That's basically what they do. Now it tells us we need a sum of the number here. So I'm going to put sum here. Now if I leave this as group by, it should only put each staff member once and put their total. So let's run the query. Yay, there we go. So AR only appears once, whereas in the database he appears loads of times because he sells loads of stuff. He's really clever, AR. I don't know anyone who's got the initials AR, but whoever it is really clever because they've like sold 649 holidays, and look, nobody else has sold that many. So yes, so we get the total of all the holidays that AR has sold. Perfect. Except the question also asks us to have a count. Is it a count or an average? I can't remember. It's a count of how many holidays they sold. Well, the number of holidays they sold is in the number field, so we use the number field again, and we don't group it. Instead, we count it. And what we're doing is saying put the person's initials here and count the number of holidays they sold. Okay? So here we go. If I run that now, there we go. The sum of all the holidays that they sold, which is the sum of the number field, so how many, so the total calculation is 649, but the count, which is how many, is 143. Okay, so there's sum and there's count, and all it's doing is it's saying, okay, let's get these people together like JP. I used to work with someone called JP. Now I work with someone called JC. There's loads of J's in my life. So we have JP, and here we have the sum and the count, and it only appears once. It could be, for example, in this exam that you have, for example, might be, I don't know, it might be a list of products and a count of how many times they've been sold. And it will list each product separately, like Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Iron Brew, Lay's, whatever. And so yes, this is a totals query. And again, you would save it using the name of whatever report you're going to create, except in this case, we're not actually going to end up with a report, even though it says new report, because we're going to export the data. And I will deal with that in another video. But for now, in order to make Mr. and Mrs. YouTube happy with how much I've done, I'm just going to save this as staff query, like that, and I'm going to say goodbye.